If this is not a name to put you off buying a guitar, then what is? It sounds so cheap and tacky. It sounds like a kid's toy, top 20 guitar. But it's not. It's a very much sought after guitar made in Japan and very high quality. Called the top 20 guitar, made by Teisco. And it is a lovely guitar, and as I said, very much sought after. You get a good one of these and you can ask for £500-600. Generally speaking, you can buy one for around £200 to £350, and if you're lucky you'll get one even cheaper than that. But if you're a guitar aficionado, this is the kind of guitar to put in your collection, and they are very worthwhile investing in. But this guitar looks pretty good. I'm going to turn it over. And just looking at the body and the neck and everything, I haven't done any serious work yet on it to examine it. But it is a model 1970 and the number is 1170. But that doesn't mean it was made in 1970. I believe this one was made in 1962. Now, what was 1962 famous for? It was before the Beatles. So I'll put up some music there about what 1962 was made. Music defines the era, I always think. Now we're going to have a little deeper look at this. Now, and I did read somewhere that a Teisco guitar can have a plywood neck, although I wouldn't want to say that, but there's no wood joins or anything. And when you look closely at that, I can't get you any closer unfortunately, they do look like paint lines down it, going down there, and stipple brushes there to try to make it look like wood. Now, could I be completely wrong? No, I'm always right. Anyway, never mind. It's a great little guitar, and I'm just going to take a slide down it. I'll just go down there, and what we should do, which I should have done in the first place, was test the electrics to see where we are, and keep our wee fingers crossed, love, that we've got a sound. You know, I like all guitars, but there's some, I like this guitar. It really appeals to me too. It's called a Slimline, because it's avoided the problem of the Futurama, where the neck was sitting way up here on the body and the pickups had to be raised up high. So Robert Smith, I believe, from The Cure played this. But let's see. Oh, I got some sound. That's all working. It's going to need some cleaning up. I'm going to take it all apart anyway, completely apart. But it's going to need a lot of TLC. The action's not bad. Pickup heights are wrong, but we'll have a good look at this. So shall we start by my favorite hobby of cutting off the strings? And I'm going to try to find somebody that... Oh, did I hear Georgie go? Yes, I do. Here she comes. The string-along girl. What do you got? You wanting into the action, aren't you? Aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, she's wanting into the action. Okay, let's just keep rocking and rolling here and bring this down so we can have a look inside. Because I know you want to. So do I. I want to as well. Now I'm noticing that none of the screws are coming out. Well, one has come out. So that tells me that the wood has got a bit of an issue. Maybe it's gone a bit damp. So why are you not moving? Ah, right, okay, you ready for the big reveal? And you're not going to see much. It's a nice, neat setup. Capacitor for the tone. I'll try to keep my bald head out of it. What does this say on these things? I can't make out what it says on the switches. Oh, 500K it says there. Yeah, it's ply. There's multi-ply on it. But I don't think it's sort of cheap ply. I think it's like maple ply or something like that. But it's a good, it's a light body, but it's also a good solid body. So I'm going to do more taking this apart, and I'll probably speed this up too. I'm going to do that off camera because you'd be bored to tears of me doing that. And I'll probably come back. I've got some more work to do with the computer, so I'll come back and do this later. Yeah, there's the springs. That look like brand new, don't they? The springs. There's hardly any rust or corrosion on that side at all. Very good. And that just doesn't hold the springs in. You tighten those screws and it gives you tension, different tensions for the vibrato arm. Shall we take the neck off as well while we're here? I'll go on, you want to. You know you want to. Okay, let's have a look and see if there's anything to see. Nothing. Not even a wee scratch, love. Right, the neck itself, nothing, nothing. What'd I tell ye? Nothing. Right, come on. Right, so the next bit's going to be deadly interesting to you. It's going to be cleaning. So you can see, actually if I pull back, you'll see, you know when I tapped the guitar there to get the thing off, all the rust and dirt fell out through the holes at the front. So that was helpful, but it does show you that the wood can rot. So I think I'll do some treatment on that. But I'm going to clean this tomorrow because I'm tired now. And I think I've done my bit. I've wrecked it. Alright, bye. Well, I've done a lot of research on this. And I haven't been able to find what you would call a pile of information. What I can tell you is that this is the Teisco guitar, and that's the right pronunciation, Teisco, not Tesco. But this is going to be a cleaning, and I'll probably speed this up in a minute. I've also since did more work on this. If you can see that closely, you'll see it is a ply built neck, different plies. So you could call it plywood, but it's ply of good quality wood. I'll show you pictures of it throughout the video of the different people playing it and the factory it was made in, and then they show you a picture of the factory being pulled down. Let's speed it up now because this is just cleaning. Now that's below the surface, and I want it to be below the surface because I'm going to stain that black once it dries, and then I'll stain it really black, and then I'll fill it up with super glue, pick guard and bits and pieces. Now this is going to be sped up as well. The video recording was stopped automatically because I ran out of disk space. Can you guess what that is? Okay, I'm going to take them away and clean them at the sink in lots of water. Didn't get the little words twisted because whenever they were put on, they were glued on. So that didn't allow me to, oh, what do I just do? Right, I did some cleaning offline. And as you can see, that looks really nice. The knobs came up beautifully. All the switches came up beautifully, and the chrome and it's polished up really, really nice. I'm very happy with that. But not only that, I've moaned about this before, but this is 60s chromium plating. And look how beautiful it is after 60 years. And you've seen the guitars that I put on my bench that have had chromium plating after 20 years and falling apart. Japanese workmanship. That's brass underneath, so I'm not going to put any rust preventative on that. But look how beautiful that is. It just is gorgeous. And it's in such good condition. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is put that all away, soak those in vinegar. The screws are all rusty. You know that I'm waiting for that to dry, which won't take long. And once it's dried, then I'll do the neck separately from the body. It doesn't need much of that. Well, there's a bit of a, it needs some fretwork there because it's been worn away, but not a lot. And I'll do the head piece, probably do that off camera. But I'll come back to you when I'm ready to do the neck. Well, I did say to you that I'd come back to you when I'm doing the neck, but I was very impressed with cleaning of these tuners. They're ancient, and look how white they've come up, just with a bit of polish. And look how shiny the brass is and how well it is. It come up too. Really, really excellent and much better cleaning than I thought it would be. I've cleaned the front. I didn't touch that just in case anything happened to it. But it's coming up really nice. That's almost like new. And I'm not exaggerating. Good old Sainsbury's malt vinegar. I don't have any white vinegar, so brown vinegar is going to have to do. And I'm going to have to smell like fish and chips for the next 24 hours as that eats away at the rust on the screws. Although I'm tempted to put new screws on the pick guard because the old screws are really small and they're a bit rusty. But also the holes on the pick guard have widened over time like that, and the screws could fall through it. So pause and then I'll come back to you when I'm doing. Right, I'm going to do the ordinary things first, like checking the neck straightness and see where we are. Well, to me that neck is dead straight. You may just have a tiny bit of bow underneath it, just about there. And I tell you what I'm going to do, just to test the truss rod, I'm going to just see what if it's working. It seems to be turning okay. And tightening. Well, it's working 100%. That's a perfectly straight neck now, and I'm going to leave it like that because there's no strings on. I'm going to speed through this next bit as I check the fret leveling. Yummy, 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 dinner time, dinner time. Vinegar bubbled all night long, so we'll see what we have now. We have dirt. That's what we have. Right, let's see if I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on camera cleaning these, just to see where we are. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think I will give it some rust treatment anyway. Let's look at the smaller screws. These ones I'm going to use. I've decided not to use the smaller screws because they had gone too rusty over time. So I'm going to keep the smaller screws, these tiny ones, and I'm going to put them in a little tight package and put them inside the guitar. So if some art historian in 1,000 years says these are not the original screws, well, then I'll give them these. Well, they won't. I won't give them, but they'll discover them buried in the guitar, and they'll say, "Oh, isn't that clever, that man?" Right. So I'm going to go through each one of these and clean it. And you really don't want to watch that, do you? No, you don't. I know you don't. Now, say what you see. Say what you see. What do you see? You see a guitar with some screws loose that I haven't put down. They're brand new screws, and I've decided to keep the old screws as an Easter egg. So they're in there, and they're super glued in there because that will fit in and hide them, right? Now the reason why I super glued them, they're covered in super glue with the end of a tube. Reason I super glued them, well, they'll never rust again. And if somebody in the future does want to restore this guitar right back to original, they can take out my fender screws and use the originals just by dissolving the super glue. So that's their little Easter egg. So what I'm going to do now is put that on. The matchsticks have all been dried out now. This guitar is super hard to clean. I had an awful lot of work to do this clean because I do think it's a tobacco, I think it's the tobacco sunburst or something like that they call it. But besides that, I think there's a lot of nicotine ingrained in this guitar, and I had to scrub and scrub and scrub. But I'm going to put these in. I'm going to speed that up, and then I'm going to put the cover on. It's a little angle cover, and then I'm going to do this, which will be a little bit difficult. It's the I filled that up with super glue. First of all, I filled it up with black nail varnish, and I hardened the nail varnish with ultraviolet light because I couldn't get it black enough with ordinary stain. And I filled it up with super glue twice, and then I'm going to have to scrape that off. But I'm going to put this together. Actually, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to test the electrics to make sure I haven't done anything silly to them and they're being wrecked. That's why I haven't tightened down those screws yet, because I'm afraid to. Electrics are all working fine. I must get aluminium one of them, because the idea is not to touch the pickups, but because that's metal, it's pulled down onto the pickup, which defeats the purpose. So the electrics are still working fine, so I'm going to put this on and speed it up. Okay. Actually, no. The experience I had with this means that I got to drill out the holes a little bit first. So I'm going to drill them. Very poor fret job cutting on this. Let's see if I can show you the frets properly here with that oil on it. Maybe with the oil you won't be able to see it as well. But if you look down there, you'll see some of the frets are cut short. Some of them are actually like they've been chewed off. They're quite poor and short. I don't see a Japanese factory letting something like that go out as cheap and as bad as that. And if you look at this side, you see, if the oil may be hiding it, you see the way they're twisted and cut crooked. That looks like it's been refretted at some stage, but not very well if you look at that fretting. But also if you look at the binding seems to be something going on there with the binding. So I think I can do something with hiding the binding, make it binding look, hide that little bit of whatever it is. But without doing a complete refret, I'm going to have to do something down there. They're sharp as anything down there. You can see I've rounded off some of the edges, but there's some I just cannot get at because they're cut far too short. But that has helped rounding off, crowning the edges like that. But that's a very poor fret job. But the frets work well. The frets are working well. I'm just feeling them here. They're very sharp up there, but I'm not going to do anything up there because you'll damage the body, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time down there because people will play it there. Yes, I should take them off and redo them again, but that's one of the reasons why I don't do frets, because it's a very specialist job. I can tell you when they're badly done, but I can't do them. So I can tell you, I can teach you, but I can't do it. Well, that's a little bit of a disappointment, those frets being so poor. But they're very much playable. There's no problem with them. What is that there? It looks like it's got a little chunk out of it, which I'm going to have to look at with 2 pairs of glasses. But what I'm going to do is run a flat file along the side there, just to see if it'll help in any way. So I'm going to let that sit because it does need it. It really is a dry neck. Now you thought I was finished with the neck, didn't you? Didn't you? Go on, admit it. Go on, admit it. Well, so did I, actually, because I had done 3 coats of lemon oil on it. But I must admit, I'm still not happy with it. You can see these little bits of tissue when I run down the neck. It's still sharp-ish, but well and truly playable. But that's another issue. The issue I'm going to deal with now is the neck not being the way I want it. So I'm going to go to what I now call my old faithful high build guitar finishing oil and put a layer on that to see if I can get it to look better. I haven't seen anything where it says Crimson Guitars recommend this for the neck, but I remember watching a video where he says if you're going to use it on the neck, just use it the correct way. Now what I've done is I put a layer on, I'll let that sit 10 minutes. It'll sink into the wood, like I've said several times before, but I think I just keep repeating it. And eventually in about 5 minutes or so, I'll take it all off again and put another coat on it, and then let it sink in and then take it off again. get the strings on, get the bodywork on, get it up to tune and intonate it to make sure that everything's 100%. And then I'll do this bodywork here, which has 4 or 5 layers of super glue on it. And there's some bodywork here, just needs little chips filled, and that there is just going to be filled. So I'll let that sit for 10 minutes, and then I'll put another coat on. And when you see me again, I'll be putting strings on this. I lied. Didn't I say the last time I did this that I was going to put the strings on? Yeah, there you go. I'm showing you how I got it buffed, and I'll show you the fretboard now that it is buffed, and I think you will see the difference. Yeah, you see it's got a bit of a shine to it, and it looks really nice. Well, that's the strings on, and she's looking mighty pretty. I think she looks well. I still have the body work to do, but I'm just going to quickly check. I'm using this for your edification because the other one you can't see it. I'm just going to check the intonation. Oh, there's no point in checking the intonation because you can't intonate this. Right, okay, I'm just about to check the intonation, but there's no point because you can't move that in any form or fashion. Right, okay, that's a interesting thing. That's where the fender probably came in after this, and you can do all those things, but just check these tuners up here are very good. Right, so it's all a bit sharp. It could do with all going back, but I'm not going to do that because this is not going to be a guitar that I don't think it's going to be a guitar that's a stage guitar. But I think it could benefit with that, just moving that way a little bit and back. I'm just going to check the straightness now that it's been tuned. It has the perfect underbow. Now, it was perfectly straight, wasn't it? I can't remember what I said from the beginning, but it's now got a little bit of an underbow. Okay, alright, laters. Well, there she is. She's finished. She's going home. She's all been done, all nice and neat and all tidy, and it's looking really well. That little repair I did, alright, but very thin lacquer on these guitars, so I'm afraid to scrape too much. But she's a great little guitar. I actually really like it. It sounds wonderful too because the pickups are really good. Let me just check it's in tune again. This is a great little guitar. I'll play a couple of chords on it just to let you hear. This is full pickups. Clean amplifier, no buzz. Not a great deal of difference between the back pickup and the front pickup, but you do get a bit of a more harsh sound, which is what you want with a treble. Sorry, I had the wrong way. This is the high treble. So it's a lovely guitar. Lovely, rich, mellow sound. These are going to need to be used a bit more because there's still a little bit of crackly, but it's getting a lot better. But I do like it, I must admit. There'd be a bit of controversy over it because some people say it's not Teisco made. It's not Teisco made, and then they tell you it's by some other company, but when you check it up, it says it's made in the Teisco factory. So it's Teisco made. I'll cause a riot saying that. I do like it. I think it's the kind of guitar I'd like to sit and play. Maybe I should be playing any guitar because my guitar skills have gone to pot. But anyway, great little guitar, lovely action, everything about it's great. So say goodbye to it. It's going home now. Bye, 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 bye.